Well, many people are still cleaning up, of course, from Helene. We're watching several different areas in the Atlantic, including the Gulf of Mexico, where a future storm could form. So we're watching a very active Atlantic right now after an unusually quiet August and early September. Now, 5 different systems that the National Hurricane Center is watching, including a mass of clouds that's going to be developing potentially another storm in the exact same area that Helene developed. And then we have several systems way out at sea, including one right in the main tropical development area, including 12, which could become a future hurricane. So we'll break down a few of these. But this is the European ensemble plots for probabilities of a system becoming a tropical cyclone. And you can see high probability that Gulf of Mexico system in the next several days, but also, of course, in the Atlantic too. So one of those that we're watching is 12, which could become Kirk pretty soon and is forecast to become a major hurricane, Category 3 storm. It's going to stay out at sea, but still just showing you the power of all the energy that's trapped in the oceans right now. The Atlantic remains very warm. All of this bright orange is way above normal water temperatures. That's a lot of energy for these storms in that main development area, but also the Gulf of Mexico remains pretty warm too. You can see a little bit of some lower temperatures thanks to Helene kind of mixing up the waters, which is the job of a hurricane, kind of disperse that energy. But still, we're looking at record levels, tied with last year for the warmest water temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico. That is the fuel for these tropical systems. Same thing in the Caribbean, tied for the highest temperature levels. And when we look at that main, again, tropical development zone, that's where we're also seeing tied at record levels. So there's just a ton of energy throughout the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico. So again, Kirk is going to become potentially a Category 3 storm here, staying largely out at sea, but then we're watching those several other systems that are going to be developing here over the coming couple of days into early next week. So Kirk potentially could even become a Category 4 storm. A couple of outlier models have it reaching Category 4 strength, but you can see the consensus does have it reaching Category 3 here over the next few days. And again, well, it's not going to affect anybody. It just gives you an idea of just the volatility and the energy in the Atlantic right now. But we're going to watch this system that's potentially going to develop in the Gulf of Mexico. This is the European model over the course of the next 7 days. And this is way too early to pinpoint an exact location, but it has it making landfall somewhere around Florida, maybe not as a hurricane, but potentially a tropical system. But then the American model also is creating a similar path, striking somewhere in Florida, but a more powerful storm. So those are just 2 different scenarios. There's lots of possibilities, way too early to tell what could happen with that system, but heads up, unfortunately, again, for anywhere in the Gulf of Mexico region.